is Mei Lee and I'm the moderator for today's talk. Okay, this CPD event is being organized by Pamnc Northern Chapter. We will also broadcasting the event live in Pamnc Northern Chapter Facebook page. So please feel free to share with your friends. However, CPD point is only applicable for those who registered through Pamnc website. And I'm so great to have our speaker for today, Professor Dato Sri Architect Dr. Asiah Abdul Rahim. Hi, Professor Asiah. Yeah, Professor Asiah will sharing her knowledge regarding universal design and public toilet design. She will present two papers today. First paper will be MS 1184-2014, Universal Design and Accessibility in the Built Environment Code of Practice. And the second paper is MS 2017, Public Toilet, Part 1, Design Criteria, First Revisions. So first of all, let me give some short description about Professor Asiah. Professor Asiah obtains her PhD from Oxford Brookes University in UK in 1994. Bachelor of Architecture from Deakin University in Australia and Diploma in Architecture from UTM Architecture, School of Architecture and Environmental Design, KAED, International Islamic University, Malaysia. She's a professional architect and also a coordinator for KAED Universal Design Unit, which handling research and consultancy, including universal design and accessibility for persons with disability, elderly, and children. She also a permanent member of Universal Design and Built Environment Committee under National Councils of Persons with Disability, Ministry of Women, Family, and Community Developments. And recently, she also have been appointed as a council, as a member of Council for Majlis Tindakan OKU Selangor and chairman of Universal Design and Built Environment Subcommittee. So thank you, Professor Asiah, for willing to share with us your expertise and also hands-on experience today. So to all participants, there will be a live Q&A section right after the presentation. So if you have any question for the speaker, you can press the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen and submit the questions on the conference platform. Also, a gentle reminder to all participants, LAM CPD require a continuous participation. So there will be a sign-in code and a sign-out code pop up on the screen throughout the section. And at the end of the section, there will be a link that leads you to the page to fill in the attendance in order to complete your participant record. So we will also have a section among the panelists and speaker at the end of the seminar. So please stay back. Without further ado, I would like to invite our Pamnc Northern Chapter Chairman, Architect Casey Liao, to give an opening speech. Yeah, Chairman.
Very good morning to everybody, and good morning to all the attendees and all the panelists. Thank you very much for spending your Saturday morning with us. Thank you, Gary's PXL, for hosting the event as usual. And thank you to our ever efficient Pamnc Northern Chapter Secretariat. And thank you, Architect Loh Mei Lee, for being the moderator, for guiding us through the course of the talk. Thank you, Casey Chong, our CBD chairman, for organizing the webinar. Last but not least, thank you, Professor Dato Sri AR, Dr. Asiah, for giving us your knowledge and your time on the subject. Okay, before I hand over to Professor Asiah, please allow me to say just a few words on the two items. Part 1, MS 1184 Universal Design, and then Part 2, MS 2015 Public Toilet Provision in Building. I've always been very interested in universal design and accessibility for people with disability, because my wife used to work in an institution where the children actually, she's a head teacher of an institution in England. So I'm quite aware of the society should be very inclusive. That means actually we include everybody, whether you are able-bodied in the context of disability, whether you're able-bodied or otherwise. I think it's a sign of a civilized society when we are inclusive. We don't exclude other people who are actually less able than ourselves. Accessibility to buildings not only make social sense, but also make economic sense. What do I mean by that? Let me elaborate a very, very good example. I've seen a lot of buildings in Penang. they are actually not easily, like shop houses, they are not easily accessible because they are raised approximately 1.5 meters off the ground. I know the reason. I'm an architect. I know the reason why they do it, because they want the sub-basement car park to have ventilation. Okay, it makes practical sense to the developer, but it doesn't make very much sense to people trying to access these buildings. Okay, what I mean by makes economic sense, you imagine that your building is 1.5 meter high off the ground. So accessibility to these buildings are very challenging. You probably get about 30% of mothers with wheelchairs and, and disabled people will be finding it very hard to get there. Therefore, the value of your property compared to the property accessible on a ground level will be very, very different. That's what I mean about economic sense. In the long run, I think the value of a property that's easily accessible to all is much more valuable. Okay. Okay. On item 2, I'll leave it to Professor to discuss about the toilet provision and all that. What I would like to propose, if possible, is for the government to have legislation to force the owner of these toilets to keep it clean. I'm not quite sure whether whether it can be done or not. You can provide lots of toilets everywhere, but if it's not kept and maintained, it defeats the purpose. So I think there should be some sort of legislation whereby owners, be it local council or private owners, must be made to be responsible for the cleanliness and the functionality of the toilets. Okay. Pam actually supports very much universal design everywhere we go, because I think the more we move forward, the more inclusive we should be to all segments of society. Okay, without further ado, please welcome Professor Dato Sri AR Dr. Asiah to present her paper. Thank you very much, Dr. Asiah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. And first of all, I would like to thank to our beautiful MC today, Miss Architect Loh Mei Lee, Honorable Pamnc Northern Chapter, Architect Casey Liao. Nice meeting you with your briefing explanation on your experience on university design. I also would like to thank to Dato Loh Chak Yong, the Pamnc Northern Chapter past president, chapter chairman. He contacted me before to give a talk today. For your information, I will present you 2 papers, but before that, I would like to share you a little bit on the scenario before I will explain further on the Malaysian standard MS 1184 and MS 2015. The reason why I would like to share this paper was presented to the Minister of Human sometimes last month to share with her on the latest scenario of accessibility in Malaysia. But it is in bahasa ya. Kertas ini bertujuan untuk memaklumkan majlis kebahasaan bagi orang kurang upaya tentang senario semasa accessibility orang kurang upaya di Malaysia. So for your information, Malaysia mula menangani isu keperluan OKU, reka bentuk sejagat dan persekatan ala bina dengan penyediaan Malaysian Standard dan keamanan pada hujung tahun 1980-an. So this is the most important year. This is where all the Malaysian architects came back from overseas or from local. They become architect and start doing their code of practice for the disabled. So the 3 Malaysian standard, the first one was MS 1183 1990, published in 1990, specification for fire precaution in the design and construction of buildings. MS 1184 was written in 1991, similar year with Japanese, yeah, with Japan. Also in 1990s, code of practice on access for disabled person to public buildings, and MS 1331 1993, code of practice for access of disabled person outside buildings. So for your information, MS 1184, which we published in 2014, and then we amend in 2017. Now we are revising again. So we revise our Malaysian standard normally after every 5 years. So the reason why we revise just to add these 5 topics. The first one, sekolah, school, preschool, sekolah kebangsaan, primary school and secondary school, housing, warisan dan pengangkutan, heritage and transportation, SOP, evacuation for disabled during emergency, dan juga building maintenance. And number 5 is bed lift untuk keperluan reka bentuk lift di hospital. So these are the new 5 topics that we would like to add to our MS1184. Just a little bit on the background of MS1184, which I was the chairman for three times on the revision. For your information, when we prepare this document, we refer to various documents all over the world: USA, UK, Japan, Korea, New Zealand, Australia, Scandinavian country, and so on. And also we refer to ISO 2011. So the current one is I mean the one that we have is quite comprehensive. Other document which I think everybody should know is Plan Tindakan OKU 2016 to 2022. This is Plan of Action for Disabled. This is for the government, and where all the businesses should should focus. This document echo from insurance strategy. So there are 10 strategies under this. The most important one is number 1, which I highlighted here, highlighted here on accessibility. Meningkat akses. Strategi number 3, meningkat akses OKU kepada pendidikan. Number 1. Terus strategi 1, meningkatkan accessibility golongan OKU. Goal 3, insurance strategy. So a little bit of the law just now was mentioned by our chairman, Northern Chapter, KC Leo, regarding ACTA Act. So we have Disabled Acts written here. ACTA Orang Kurang Upaya 2000, published in 2008. ACTA 685. Yeah? You have both in Malay and in English. You can download this document. The most important thing is chapter 1 on accessibility. I will explain this in my next paper. Yeah, and also the UBBL. Under our UBBL, it is written under 34A. Yeah? Under 34A, it is written 2 standard, which is 1183 on fire, and the other one MS1184. So when it is written in UBBL, meaning this 2 document is mandatory. Yeah? MS Malaysian Standard, dia 2 kategori. 1 mandatory, 1 voluntary. So MS1184 is mandatory because it is written in UBBL. So this is what I wanted to share with you. I have audited more than 800 buildings throughout Malaysia. Yeah? So these are some of the buildings that I have audited. Bangunan Parlimen, lapangan terbang, kota Kinabalu, Masjid Negara, Masjid Tuanku Bizan, some of the example, and we also do star rating for the buildings. Yeah, so this is the manual access that I and my group prepare to access audit existing building. Yeah, so these are some of the example. These are some of the buildings that I have audited throughout the country. More about 600 over, but I listed here about 100 plus. So some of my work in 2019 and 2020 and also 2021, I just highlighted here. So some of the buildings that I did in 2019, 5 buildings, Parliament, and then in the University Petronas, Perak dan sebagainya lah. These are some of the example covering sekolah. This is for 2021. In April 2021, I audited 5 buildings, including sekolah. I think sekolah is very important, other than other building. So this is a little bit on the background of what I've done so far and where we are. So after auditing since 2008, we have 3 category: memuaskan, kurang memuaskan, dan tidak memuaskan. Memuaskan only 20%. Yeah? So 80% is in the category of kurang memuaskan and tidak memuaskan in terms of providing facilities for the disabled in our country. So these are the findings of my research, my work on SS audit. So this is the table which I think is very important here, where when we have when architects are appointed, whether to design for new building or reviewing existing building. So if we design new building, we can we can incorporate the universal design into the design during design process, pre-construction, and so on. For those existing building, especially built before we produce our Malaysian standard, so we have to do post-occupancy evaluation or audit access. So this is what I mentioned to you when I audited audit access, those example above. So where I found only 20% of our buildings in our country are accessible based on the case study. So 3 case study, Putrajaya, DBKL, and Majlis Perbandaran MPPJ. I mean, they have stress on providing facilities for their area and the strategies and so on, which I'm not going to talk about this in detail, but I would like to highlight that, for example, Perbandaran Putrajaya, this Perbandaran, they have universal design. Yeah? Similarly to Majlis Perbandaran Petaling Jaya, where all the jabatan architecture, engineering, planning, and landscape are the members of this unit. Yeah? So these are some of my work a little bit, and also the issue, yeah? And also the rumusan. So this is very important when you look at the rumusan here. Kita ada dokumen penting daripada kerajaan, ya. Dalam rumusan ni mengatakan bahawa audit access should be done every year, ya, to make sure our buildings are accessible to our built environment, and also to do follow through. This is what we propose to have, and also during COVID-19 we have some sort of difficulty to proceed, and then each local authority should have plan tindakan accessibility. So far, the one who have done is Majlis Perbandaran Petaling Jaya and Putrajaya. So this is the most important document which I think our architect should know. Merujuk pada Pakaian Ketua Setiausaha Kementerian Perumahan dan Kerajaan Tempatan, ya, Bilangan 5/2019, mesyuarat Jemaah Menteri pada 12 April 2019, dan mesyuarat Bajet Negara bagi Kerajaan Tempatan, ya, yang bersidang pada 23 Julai 2019 telah menimbang dan bersetuju dengan pelan tindakan accessibility orang kaya di bawah aspek persekatan fizikal dan panduan pelaksanaan oleh PBT untuk jadikan panduan kepada perjalanan pelan tindakan accessibility oleh setiap PBT. So this is the one that I wanted to inform members, because when we submit our drawing to local authority, they have to approve our drawing and make sure before we submitted our drawing we include facilities for the disabled. So this is a little bit of the background of what is happening in our country now. So this is the conclusion of my paper, so which is similar from the previous one. Okay, that's all for me to introduce you the scenario what we have in Malaysia. Yeah? Now I would like to share with you my next paper. Okay, this is my first paper, which I was requested by Pamnc Northern Chapter to explain to you MS 114 2014, where we are and where we should move forward. So the content of this paper, which I also include on person with disability, Akta 685, UBBL, Section 34, and also the detail of MS 184. Next. Okay, under person with disabilities, an act to provide for the registration, protection, rehabilitation, development, and well-being of persons with disabilities, the establishment of the National Council for Persons with Disabilities, and for matters connected therewith. So far, when I recall back, I was involved, for your information, Mr. Chairman, Casey, Leo, and Loh, I've been involved in this topic for the past 25 years. It is under 5 ministers under Ministry of Women. Sudah tua dah, sudah pension dah sekarang. So, okay, looking at this, I just highlighted a few, recognizing that disability is an evolving concept and that disability results from the interaction between persons with disabilities and attitudinal environmental barriers. So they have 2 barriers. One is attitude, pemikiran, and the second one is physical. Our task as an architect is to look into the physical barriers, yeah, and that hinders their movement. The next one is to value existing potential contribution of people with disability, and also the importance of accessibility to the physical, social, economical, and cultural environment. So meaning they wanted to have access to this economic, cultural, health, education. So education is very important. That's why we want to enhance our new amendment to include school, primary school, preschool, and secondary school in our society, recognizing that persons with disabilities are entitled to equal opportunity and protection. So they want to have jobs. They want to give, not to receive. So actually, when I was involved with the disabled person, their characters, their behavior are similar to us able-bodied. Dia ada cemburu, dia ada marah, dia ada rasa nak bercinta, dia pun nak kahwin, mereka pun ada anak. I mix with them a lot. So we should give them opportunity and to be with to live in our life. Next. Okay. When you refer to the Disabled Act, the most important chapter is chapter number 5. Number 5. Sorry, this one. Chapter number 4. Sorry, chapter number 4 on accessibility. Clause 26. Access to public facilities, amenities, and services and buildings. Access to public transport facilities. Access to education. Access to employment. Access to information, communication, and technology. This is very important where, especially the hearing impaired and the vision impaired, they use a lot of, IT. And then cultural life, recreation, leisure, and sport. When you look at these clauses from 26 to 32 are all similar to what we want. So they really need all these facilities to be accessible for them to move forward. Next. Okay, now I just go through very quickly on chapter 1, clause 26, 27, and 28. Persons with disabilities shall have the right to access to and use of public facilities, amenities, services, and buildings opened or provided to the public on equal basis with persons without disabilities, but subject to the existence or emergence of such situation that may endanger the safety of persons with disabilities. I would like to highlight to you, now Malaysia is going to be an aging society. By the year 2050, 15% of our population above 65 are aging population. Let's say today our population is 32 million. According to Jabatan Kebajikan Malaysia, the total population for the disabled person covering 7 categories are 500,000 at the moment. So the 7 categories are deaf, hearing disability, blind, visual disability, speech disability, physical disability, learning disability, mental disability, and multiple disability. So we have 500,000, and let's say we take 7% of 32% for the aging population. It's already 2-point-something million. Plus the 500,000, it is about 3 million of Malaysian population needed facilities for the disabled, because aging population are close to, sometimes we have all the 3 types of disability, multiple disability. Kita pekak, kita juga buta, kita juga berkursi roda, especially the aging population. Next. The next one is access to employment. If you know our YB Senator Dato Ras Adibah, she's on wheelchair. She was a very famous TV news presenter. She's also my friend. She was with me for more than 10 years to do access audit to many local authority in Malaysia. For your information, after she became disabled, she wanted to kill herself. Dia rasa nak bunuh diri. Because she was not able to look after her son, she was not able to get a job, and she told me she was given a job to be in multimedia, but the office was located on the 4th floor and there is no lift. So she told me dia menjalan like a snake from the ground floor up to the 4th floor for the interview. But now she's very, Allah give her good opportunity and become senator, and she championed on this topic. So not only that, I have another guy from Cebu. I have a lot of disabled friends, Architect Leo and Miss Loh. So all my friends are disabled. So saya tak dapat nak sombong lah. Tak sempat nak sombong diri ke, nak rasa action ke, because when I look at them, I feel more, sedih dan sebagainya. That's why I championed on this topic. So this guy, he's a Chinese guy. He is the CEO for two factories, one in Penang, the other one in Cebu. Very successful guy. And he got a road accident, and I think the whole body was paralyzed. Yeah? So I met him in Cebu, young handsome boy, but he is using apa ni? Dia letakkan saluran air kencing, the bag for urine, yeah? Underneath his jean. Yeah? So he told me he wanted to kill himself as well, similar to Ras, but he was not able to climb the window because he feel that he has no life and so on. So the point I wanted to say here, that the disabled, especially those are using wheelchair and paralyzed, mentally very strong, very intelligent, but mobility to move from one place to another, whether in the house or in the surrounding or in the built environment or in the community. So this is the big issue, which I'm very happy that Northern Chapter invited me to share with you after 25 years. But we have, of course, we have improvement, but we need to do more. So under employment, I have another friend from UM. He is, I forgot his name. He got PhD. He already got the job now. He became disabled using wheelchair due to demam apa ni yang nyamuk tu Aedes. The gigit nyamuk Aedes. So dia dapat dengue. Lepas tu the germs attack the tulang belakang, the backbone, and he became paralyzed, and he got 3 children. So he lived in upper floors without lift, so he didn't move from his home for 6 months. Now he got a job. So having lift is very important. Yeah. Although your building, if it is a public building, although the building is only 2-story, you must provide lift. Jangan kata mahal lah, tak boleh sebagainya, because you have to bring people from ground floor to first floor. If it is a public building, you must. So I think it's a need now. Even in our Malaysian standard, I will show to you later. So this is what I wanted to share with you. I have so many friends. So employment, they want to get job. They want to give. Many of my disabled person, they are very intelligent people. So if we give them opportunity, of course, they will help the society and the country. Next. Access to information, communication, and technology. This is very, very important, but having smartphone is very expensive. So the hearing impaired wanted to communicate with us, they have to use, or among themselves, they have to use smartphone. So and others. So this is, and also the apa ni orang buta digunakan handphone juga untuk berkomunikasi. Next. Access to cultural life also. They also want to have a show like Razariba. So she asked me to have ram straight to the sea. Dia pun nak swimming. I remember she asked me, she told me a group of wheelchair user was in Terengganu to do diving. She's a diver. Yeah? Ramai OKU wheelchair ni diver. So, and this is good for them as well, for their legs to be in deep sea and in salt water. Next. Now, this is my core business. Now I'm coming to, inshallah. This is, I've already highlighted to you. It is mentioned in bylaws, Act 1974 and bylaws 1921. It is mentioned in 34A. This is what is written. It's written, disabled person means people with physical, hearing, or sight impairment which affects their mobility or their use of building as referred to under bylaws 34A. So sudah ada di situ. Next. Yeah. So under 34, bylaw 34A, the following new bylaw 34A, 34A here, it is done in detail, and also highlighted the 2 standards, MS11A3 and MS11A4. MS11A3 referring to fire requirement. Fire requirement for universal, for people with disability. Next. Okay, teruskan lagi. Okay, this is very important. Under UBBL, it is written, the requirement of this bylaw shall apply to any of the following buildings or any part thereof. A, offices, banks, post office, shop, department stores, supermarket. Rail, road, sea, air travel buildings and associated concourses. Hospital, medical centers, clinic, restaurant, concert hall. Religious buildings, school, colleges, universities, zoos. Hostel, hotel, and other residential buildings other than single family private dwelling houses. So it is mentioned A to G. And this one also echo in Malaysian standard. So Malaysian standard also take all these buildings typology, and we also state this into our MS. Next, we copy from UBBL. So this is a little bit on Undang-Undang Kerja Bangunan Seragam 1984, referring to Mesyuarat Masjid Negara bagi Keadilan Tempatan ke-64 23 Mei 2011 ya, telah menyatakan Mesyuarat persetujuan cadangan garis panduan perancangan reka bentuk sejagat Industri Design. So reka bentuk sejagat difasilitasi sebagai reka bentuk persekitaran dan produk yang boleh digunakan secara meluas oleh semua golongan individu tanpa memerlukan sebarang adaptasi atau rekaan khas. Ya. So the importance of this UD untuk dilaksanakan di peringkat kerajaan negeri dan PBT. So sudah dimaklumkan di peringkat kerajaan ya. Teruskan lagi. Okay. Now, so I already informed before, so I highlighted again. This is MS 1YA4 published 2014. The before was published in 2002, and before that was 1990s. Yeah. So this is our third revision, and then we do amendment in 2017 only on diff. Ada tambahan untuk diff. Our mechanical engineer highlighted to us to include requirement untuk diff. Yeah. So we do addendum for in 2017. So I already mentioned in our current Malaysian standard, we add this 5 topics. Next. Okay, now is our task. MS 1YA4. This is the table of content. You look at scope, normative references, terms and definition, general design consideration, approach to building, designated accessible parking space. I will explain to you what do I mean by designated. Path to building, ramps, guarding along path and ramp, building entrances and final fire exit, horizontal circulation, vertical circulation, stairs, handrails, lift, vertical and inclined lifting platforms, escalators and moving walks, doors and windows, reception areas, counters, desks and tickets offices, auditorium, concert hall, sport arenas, theaters and similar seating. Next. Conference room and meeting room, viewing spaces in assembly areas, kiosks, food courts, restaurant, terraces, verandas and balconies, toilet. So it's mentioned under clause 25 toilet, and we also have MS 2015 toilet. Accessible bedroom in non-residential building, kitchen, storage, floors and wall, acoustic environment, lighting, fire emergency, warning signal, system, signal. This is very important for the deaf. Yeah? For the deaf, untuk especially the splash light and emergency. Visual contrast. This is for the blind. Equipment, control and switches, furnishing, fire safety, protection, evacuation for all, orientation, information, signage. This is one of our weaknesses by the architects. For example, you put your signage only in front of the toilet. Accessible toilet, you put the logo there. But reaching the toilet, no one knows. So wheelchair user have to wheel, and wheeling is not easy because you will have pain to both of your hands. So wayfinding is very important. Wayfinding. So from the parking to the reception, wayfinding to the toilet. How to reach the toilet? I think we should use the strategy in airport. Airport wayfinding is better because we can see from far away where is the toilet. But if you go to mall, shopping complexes, or or at universities or faculties, very difficult to find the wayfinding to find the toilet. Yeah? Then orientation, graphical symbol. This is very important. Graphical symbol for those who are not able to compare between P and Q, B and D, like autism, learning, slow learners, and so on. So we need to use big symbol for the toilet. So we can see this, a lot of our architects have done it. For example, KLIA dan sebagainya, toilet tu besar symbol untuk lelaki dan untuk perempuan. But don't change the style. Sometimes you letak songkok untuk lelaki, lepas tu different one. So people get confused. Because we have to consider the mentally retarded and learning difficulty. And then management and maintenance. This is very important. Management and maintenance issues. let's say you are living in condominium, what happened during fire? Who to save first? You run first, or you will help the elderly or the person with disability? So maintenance officer penting, and make sure your fire exit staircase tak ada surat khabar, no newspaper or refrigerator, so on, to make sure everybody is safe to the ground. So we have a number of annexes. A, tactile walking surface indicators for the warning tiles and guiding block and warning block. B, human abilities associated design consideration. C, circulation spaces at doorways. Next. D, next. Husband. D, fire safety and assisted evacuation for all in buildings. E, management and maintenance issue. F, design guidelines for children with disabilities. We have before, but it is not enough for our preschool, school, and secondary school. We touched before in 2014, but we have to highlight this. And then design guidelines for person with visual impairment, elderly. We have, but we have to add design guidelines for family-friendly facilities, and finally for parks and open spaces. But before that, I did mention on heritage, but very minimum. That's why we wanted to highlight more on heritage, because heritage areas is a tourist, very popular for the tourists, like Malacca, Penang, UNESCO area, Kuala Lumpur, and so on. Okay, next. Okay, I'm not going to read in detail, but what I wanted to say, in Malaysian Standard MS 184, it repeats again, this A to G. Before I have already shown you under UBBL, yeah, under UBBL 34. Now I read again here. I put it again from A to G and so on, and H. Next. So now scope. If you refer to table 1, accessibility for PWDs, the elderly and children in different types of building, from item 1 to item 17. Residential buildings, which area accessible areas is written there. Yeah, accessible areas on the right hand side. And then what I wanted to add here, we include heritage building as well. This is 2014. Okay, next. Definition. Just now I read you the definition from Jabatan Kebajikan Masyarakat. This is what we write for our MS. People with hearing impairment. Kita sebut hearing impairment ni bukan maknanya pekak ataupun semi pekak. Yeah? So 70% pekak, deaf, or 80% deaf, or 50% deaf, based on the decibel. Those are, there is another lecture specifically for the hearing, but today I just give you some very general info. Visual impairment, buta atau 70% buta. Mobility impairment, cognitive and learning impairment, people with hidden, such as strength, stamina, mental, and so on, impairment. And number 6 is people with diversity in the age and stature. But the last one here is mentioned multiple. You can be blind, deaf, at the same time on wheelchair. So we have to add number 7 here. Yeah? So this is what we wrote in 2014. This is what we received from Jabatan Kebajikan Masyarakat. They have added one more definition for elderly, for the person with disability. Next. Okay, just to give you some idea, when we talk about the vision impaired, vision impaired, they always walk near the boundary. Dekat dinding, orang buta dia cakap dia cari dinding lah. Dia cari dinding. And then untuk parking, please use standing signage, not on the floor, because before we drive, we have Hilux. If you put on the floor, you don't see the logo. So it is good to have standing like this. Yeah, I just give you some indicator. Where you have a ramp, you must have railing both sides. Because some wheelchair person, they do not have strength for on the left or on the right. Yeah? So these are some example, basic example. Next. So when you have this symbol for the, jangan tukar symbol ni. This is international symbol. Don't create another, disabled person with disability symbol. So if you want to position your toilet and the braille, these are the example. I just pick, and this is auditorium. Look at this. You have 4 wheelchair user because the access is here. The access is there, and then you can position the wheelchair user here because there is the door here. So you must have connectivity from the door to a seamless journey for them. This is very important because some architects, they have the ramp, everything, but at the same time, they have drop. 25 mm, 50 mm, how could the wheelchair move because of the drop? When you design a mobility for a wheelchair user, the punya perjalanan tu seamless. Tak ada drop. The wheelchair can move only 10 mm, 10 mm je wheelchair boleh. Kalau KC tak percaya, kita boleh try. I give you a wheelchair, I give you 15 mm, you cannot move. You cannot push 15,5 inci. You can only push at 10 mm. Yeah? Saya dulu test engineer, young landscape architect, dia tak percaya. I give that person wheelchair, I try, tak boleh. Yeah? Walaupun they handsome sado, very strong men, they cannot move the wheelchair because their body weight is on the wheelchair. Next. So approach to the building, this is very important. Why we must position the accessible parking near to the entrance? Because when a wheelchair is moving, the height is only 1.2 meter. So when a Hilux reverse the car, what happened? Dia tak nampak wheelchair dekat belakang. Let's say let's say if you position your accessible parking over here, and then Hilux reverse, dia tak nampak. That's why you must position the parking very close to the main entrance for the safety of the wheelchair user. Next, this one, another one, approach in the building. Yeah, you tengok sini. Yeah, this one I take from Japanese standard. Yeah, so if you look at this one, number one, where is number one? Passengers in the building. This one, passengers in the ground. Number two, entrance. Number three, not passengers, passageway. Sorry, I cannot see clearly. Passageways. Nombor satu, you nampak ni ada ramp, very close to the parking. Entrance are the reception and intercom system user friendly. Passengers and staircases. Number three. Number four, lift. Is it talking lift? If you didn't tell your mechanical engineer you want to have a talking lift, dia tak buat. So as an architect, saya dulu practice 25 tahun. I'm my own firm. So most of my buildings, I managed to have, apply universal design in my building. So I must inform the other consultant during design stage. Yeah? And then you have to repeat again. Takut dia lupa. Nanti kita punya lift tak ada talking lift. If you didn't prepare talking lift, to do it later is going to be very difficult. Yeah? Number 4, number 5, toilet. Yeah? Where is the toilet? Location of the toilet. Accessible toilet, and then number 5 and number 6, ramp. This is ramp, number 6, and number 7 is parking. Parking is very close to the main entrance. This is another one, the checkpoints. This is very important for if an architect wanted to design any building, you must use this strategy. Next, parking. You look at this one, 5.4 meter. It's very long because sometimes we use 2.6 by 4.8 normal parking. Yeah, for disabled. Parking for the disabled, 5.4 is very long. Why? Because some of the wheelchair user, they put their wheelchair at the back. So dia boleh jalan, tetapi dia tak boleh jalan jauh. This person cannot walk that long, so she needs. This is Dr. Naziati from UM. When she was young, she can walk. Now she's almost 60. She used wheelchair, so she put her wheelchair at the back. Kalau ada dalam 400 belakang ni, if you did that's what happen if there is a car behind, langgar terus. Yeah. So this is what in our Malaysian standard we provide this. Not only we alone, but many standards from other countries use similar strategy. Next. So this one already highlighted, standing signages. This is where you need to have. This is your walkway. Yeah. This is your walkway and the details. Normally the wheelchair they wheel 2 kali. Yeah. They wheel first. Second wheeling, then baru dia lepas ke atas ni. Yeah? So this is the strategy. If you curb here 200 mm, it become very steep. If you can reduce this curb to 75, in Putrajaya now dah turun. Ada 150. In some housing, the height here is 75, only 3 inches. Jadi kita punya sini ramp kita lebih baik lah, ya, lebih landai. Teruskan. Next. So just to show you, when you have trees on the pedestrian walkway, make sure you don't fight the landscape architect and then TNB and then kita punya letterbox. Don't disturb the walkway. You must have clear path for everybody. Make sure kita punya pokok ni jauh dan sebagainya to make sure our, especially the vision impaired. The white cane The white cane is the eyes of the vision impaired. Dia boleh rasa bawah, tapi kepala dia kena dahan pokok. If you are not careful, the branches of the tree will hit the forehead of the vision impaired. Teruskan. This one I would like to share you. In our standard, we show this. And then sometimes you just take the medium size. I have reason why I do this. If you look at the center one, this is where we want to show kawasan heritage. Because kita tak boleh runtuh, we cannot demolish the wall. So the size can be reduced, but you can have the bigger one. If you look at this one, if you have two wheelchair users passing each other, you have 1.8 because the wheelchair size varies. Varies the 450, 550, 650, 750. The largest width of the wheelchair is 1,000 for sport wheelchair. You just imagine if you have two sport wheelchair here, 1.8 tak lepas ni. So you have to go bigger. Especially when you design sport complex. Yang ini kita guna 8.5. Lepas tu kita, can you see I'm trying to show you. When we are wheeling, and then when we wheel the maximum, you look at my elbow. Look at my elbow. If Casey Leo is taller than me, your width here, your width plus the elbow become bigger. Total percent. That's why this corridor, this corridor is very important to make it bigger. Look at it, 1.2 is only one wheelchair and one person standing macam ni to allow the wheelchair to move. This one vision impaired and the vision impaired and his assistant. And then look at building. You can go up to 3 meters. For example, if you design universities, when after lecture, 300 students, 200 students going out from the lecture room. And then you can see the number of students. So if you are having 1.8 meter, I think, jam lah kawasan tu. So you have to look at this from this perspective. The next one, look at this lift. Normally, I just mentioned to you just now, a normal wheelchair. Let's say I take 650 width kali 1.1 meter, normal wheelchair. So your diameter is 1.5 meter. Pusing, turning, radius 1.5. Jadi toilet, dalam accessible toilet, you must have the 1.5 meter. Kalau tak cukup 1.5 meter, what happen? Dia pergi ke depan ghost stand, dia ghost stand ke depan belakang. Atau dia buka je pintu and they do their business there. Especially when the door is open inside. The door must open outside. Kalau ke dalam, dia tak boleh tutup pintu. That's why the wheelchair user, when they visited other places, they check first, is there any accessible toilet? Number one. Number two, if there is none, what happened? Dia tak minum air tau. They don't drink water. If they drink water, only one sip. Satu teguk saja. Because they do not want to go to the toilet. They minum satu teguk. I share this experience from my friends. Atau dia pakai pampers. Last hari pakai pampers. All my friends pakai pampers sebab tak nak pergi toilet. Toilet tak ada, dia pakai pampers. So can you imagine highly qualified person, outstanding person, because they become disabled or wheelchair user because of aging, for example. Tak boleh pergi toilet. So rugi ya. So this is our task. From Islamic perspective, architect Casey Liao and Miss Loh, it is wajib. Wajib ni maknanya compulsory. Kalau kita buat berdosa. Sebab kita halang orang pergi sekolah, kita halang orang dapat pekerjaan sebab kita tak buat benda tu. Wahal, this is the first thing that we are supposed to do. As an architect, we should don't bother about money because I have been practicing for 25 years, more than 300 million project with CCC. Semua saya lulus. Saya bagi data ni tuan. Ini clause berapa. Because MS 1184 is mandatory. It is written. I already show you 34A. So saya bagi bukti-bukti tu. Dapat. With good reason. And then, you dapat pahala lagi lah, good deeds. Yeah. Okay, next. Ramps, dan juga saya nak position, where should you position your warning block. This warning block biasa untuk orang buta. Warning block ni biasa kita letak depan lift, dekat lift or any opening. So orang buta kata, oh, this is something going to happen in front of him. So you must position 1 feet away or 300 mm away from the staircase or any opening. So orang buta tahu. So the design can be many design. You can have 1.5 you punya, this one can be 150 by 300, not necessarily 300, as long as you've got that texture, the vision impaired understood. Next. Yeah. So this is an example where you should have two railing, one for children, one for the adult, and the railing tak payah pakai screw, because the body weight of the disabled person, like the one who use tongkat dan sebagainya, let's say the body weight is 100 kg, dia akan pegang sekuat hati. This is what happened to my friend. I did access audit in UM. We access audit 10 buildings. So one of my wheelchair user masuk toilet. You know what happened in the toilet? Dia pegang sink. I do not know what she's doing in the toilet. Is he? Lepas tu the sink jatuh. Lepas tu banjir. A lot of water. Banjir. So the point is to say, you have to be very careful when you have your grab bar, whatever, in toilet. The body weight of that building transfer kepada railing. That's why when you enter accessible toilet, banyak yang tercabut, rosak dan sebagainya because of the body weight. Yeah? For example, saya 100 kg. Saya akan bergantung pada railing. Jadi you have to do bolted betul-betul. Yeah? Bolted properly to the wall, yeah? And also to the floor. Okay, next. More example, teruskan lagi. Yeah. Not visual and tactile warning. This one I follow the New Zealand and Australia. They use the same standard. Yeah. These two countries use the same standard. Scandinavian country like Sweden, Denmark, Finland. One more country I forgot. Sweden, Denmark, Norway. These four countries use the same standard for their country. So US, UK, Korea, Japan, Japan has more banyak ni, dia banyak not like continental, they have many gadget lah. Yeah. So these are some example. Okay, teruskan lagi. Yang ni, this is the profile of a handrail. For your information, the best grip, I don't have the example. The best grip is between 35 to 50 mm. Pegang kuat, ya. Kalau you buat besar kayu, the railing is made of timber or something like that, dia tak kuat. Jadi kalau OKU dia nak bergantung tu tak kuat. If you have this shape with this size, so the body weight transfer and dia tak jatuh, selamat, ya. And you must have a gap between this handrail to the wall. Masuk tangan, ya. You must have this. Okay, next. Kenapa bulat? Kenapa tak segi? Kenapa tak oval? There are so many questions. But round shape is the best option. Yeah? Okay, next. This is type of leaf. Yeah, okay, type of leaf. I'm not going to read, but you can read from there. Teruskan lagi. Kenapa kecil? 1000 kali 900. Jadi tak boleh pusing. What happened? Dia kena go stand. Dia masuk atau dia go stand. Kalau dia go stand, kalau dia masuk ke depan, kalau dia masuk, dia nak go stand tak nampak kan? So you have to put mirror. Yeah? Sini letak mirror. If your lift is small, you have to put mirror so that the wheelchair user boleh maneuver ke belakang. Yeah? So this one 2 by 1.1. This is the situation. This is step 2. So, but the best option where you can have the 150. Kalau dia tak pusing lah, kalau dia tak pusing, mana dia kena pandai. The most important thing, architects please, you have to inform your engineer berapa minit, berapa second terbuka dia. Sometimes if the time is too short, wheelchair sangkut. Tak sempat nak go stand masuk dah tersangkut. Sangkut ya. Jadi you have to tell your M&E, because sometimes the architect is very good, but other consultants are very bad, including the contractor. You ask the contractor to do RAM 1:12, they buat 1:12, lepas tu 1:8, campur. Ada landai lepas tu terus. Yeah, so kita kena bising tu. We have to make noises every site meeting. That's what I did. Mr. Contractor, Mr. Engineer, Structure Engineer, M&E, please do this. So I give them Malaysian standard. You follow this. So I make sure they follow my instruction. Next. This is very important for high rise. Make sure the dead body or sick person boleh masuk ni. Jangan bagi square untuk housing. You must have 2.1, at least 1.1 boleh masuk dead body ke. Jadi dead body tak berdiri. Next. This one for the escalator in Japan, they add in fixed handrail here so that you tak terkejut. The vision impaired tak terkejut. Yeah? And then they have the signal Ada bunyi guna apa? Census. Sudah sampai, you already arrived. You are reaching on top, something like that. But di Jepun ada bunyi ya. Tapi at least orang buta kalau dia naik, ada dia selamatlah, dia tak jatuh. Because this one is moving, but this one is fixed. Then when you reach top, you have this fixed handrail sebelah atas. Okay, next. This is where you position your tactile. This is where you position your tactile before you enter the escalator. But I think the vision impaired, they prefer to use lift than escalator, takut jatuh. Teruskan. Okay, this is me. I was a wheelchair user. I traveled all over the world in 2017, 2018. I went to Sweden, Denmark. I went to Alhambra, Granada, Spain, and then I went to UK and so on. Japan, Korea, and New Zealand. That year I traveled every country. Every month I travel for 12 countries, more than that. So ini saya tersangkut ni. I couldn't walk. I have a wheelchair in Korea. And this one is 3-story old train station, constructed in 1980s. This train station, not the new one. So dia tak ada lift. Suddenly saya kaki jam. Jam mana ya orang nak carry saya? My helper is very thin, thinner than me. I don't think I got 2 assistants. Every time I travel, I bring 2 person. That's why those who are travel wheelchair user, when you travel, more expensive compared to low travel. You seorang saya kena buat 2 assistant. Sebab saya berat kan. Saya baru lepas operation. So I really tested the ground. So I want to check. At the same time, I can learn as well. So the guna ni, yes, I'm so frightened because this is very flimsy. Okay. Yeah, this is another option. Kalau you ada staircase, ada 4 step, you guna ni. Yeah. Platform lift. Or you guna wheelchair stair lift. Tapi jangan tak ada kunci pula. Kalau tak ada kunci, dah tak boleh naik. So this are option. Okay, thanks. Yang ini jangan guna. Don't use this for the wheelchair user because it is moving very fast. So you must provide another door here for the wheelchair user. And this is for the hearing impaired yang orang pekat. You must have glass. Because if you do not have glass, let's say the hearing impaired knock the door, the reception said, please come in, dia tak dengar. Yeah. So if you have this, dia guna sign language. You must have this. That's why most of the officers they have a glass door. That's much better. Okay, teruskan. This is a better option compared to this one because okay, you ada tak ada jari. Dia tak ada jari, kadang-kadang macam ni tak ada jari. So this is the best option. Dia boleh guna siku. Like this or like that. Okay, next. This one you need the space here. About 600, 350 to 600 for the front wheelchair. Let's say I just give you an example. This one is, let's say this one 900. This is a wall here and there is another wall. You can see this. When you go to the toilet, dia punya lebar koridor tu 900, terus the door to the toilet. Do you think a wheelchair can enter? Tak boleh. Sebab when you open the door, the front tu tak boleh lepas. Yeah? So he need somebody to help to open the door. Next. This is another example. That's why kalau tak tahu macam mana buat toilet tiru ni, we give you some example. So in this one, we have accessible toilet, which is an unisex. Both male and female can use this. So this one sliding is better. Enter this. So you wheelchair transfer to toilet 12 cara. Ada yang 7 cara sebagainya. Side transfer kiri kanan depan atau corner. So and then you have to position your hose reel and so on lah. This sink kalau saya letak kat corner ni. This sink you can put here at the corner. Use the smallest sink for the children. Tak payah besar-besar. Use the smallest sink for the children in the accessible toilet. That's what I did because you will have ample space. The wheelchair only wanted to wash hands. Bukan nak basuh baju dekat toilet ni. Besar sangat ni. American standard is too big. The sink. So you take the smallest for children, put it at this corner. So the wheelchair can turn 360. So you have the two sitting, one squatting, and here I put railing for elderly people to stand up. You can have this. You can do diagonal better. You can hold at any for the railing. Look at here. We didn't provide any drop. The drop that you have, ini masalah kalau orang tua sangkut ya. This is the male, this is the female. In Islamic perspective, Kesilio, we don't encourage to use urinal in Islamic perspective. Our Prophet said, urine standing is not good. So urine sitting is better. I told you, when I was asked to give a talk in Singapore, attended by architects in Singapore, they asked me, during Haji and Umrah, there are many pilgrims stop in Singapore Changi Airport. So the Muslim, when they wear the ihram, the cross, the white cloth, dia kata beratus-ratus beratur pergi toilet, dia tak menggunakan urinal. They asked me, why did they use the urinal? I said, from Islamic perspective, the men are not allowed to urine standing. That's why they are using the WCO. Now they know why. So if you provide more WC, it's better than this one daripada Islamic perspective. And then you have to have water because they have to wash. Kalau dia rasa tak bersih, tak boleh semayang. Yeah? So I think, not for that matter, our Malaysian standard, this Malaysian standard is very popular in Australia and also German. Yeah? I received calls from them. They wanted to share our Malaysian standard because we also look from the Islamic perspective. And also in Japan, I was invited by the Japanese government in Tokyo to give a talk. They wanted to know from Islamic perspective because they want to have the Olympic. So dia kena ada surau, dia kena ada toilet dan sebagainya. So they ask us what is expected for them. And also the tourists. For example, there are many Arab tourists going to Penang or Pulau Langkawi sampai hitam Pulau Langkawi. You know hitam Pulau Langkawi because full of them wearing black jubah. And when they come bukan seorang, satu family 12 orang, 5 semua hitam pakai jubah. So they need these facilities, the Muslims. So we have 1.2 million tourists Muslim to come. So I think that's very important. This one is 1.5 diameter. 1.5 diameter, I show it now. Okay, teruskan lagi. So this is, you see, this one, the height, 400 and 480. Because this Malaysian standard, I take the MS ISO 2011. So 2011 tu more than 100 countries. Dia ada satu document prepared by them. So kita ambil yang ni, kalau Eropah dia ambil 480 lah. ASEAN 400. So you see two measurement. This is what I wanted to highlight to you, Loh, Miss Loh and Casey. This is the wheelchair. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How they use the toilet. Kalau the left dia guna macam ni, kalau right macam ni, kalau depan corner. So we must understand. Kadang-kadang kita arkitek memandai-mandai. They thought they are very clever, they are not clever. Sometimes the architect design to kill. They make people, hopeless. So you have to be very careful. So I show you some example. Next, terus. This one disability. Teruskan lagi. Fire safety protection evacuation for all. Teruskan. I just want to show you. This is the refuge area. This one, the refuge area, to save the disabled person, especially wheelchair sebelum nak bawa turun. So in your fire staircase, janganlah buat terus macam ni, sempit. So normally even your landing pun sempit. So you have to position them at this to our fire rated wall. You have to position them before nak selamat. Biasanya kalau kita 30 tingkat, Loh akan turun sendiri. AC pun turun sendiri. Kita sempat nak tolong ni, wheelchair ni. Kan kita nak cepat nak selamatkan diri. So we have to put them there and other might bring them down. So this is our responsibility. If we put the landing too small, sometimes they put at the landing. Jangan lari macam ni kan, lari. You ada landing besar. You can position the wheelchair at the back. Okay, next. Okay, this is the landing. Okay, teruskan lagi. This is the symbol. Yeah. So I met the architect. He's a Japanese. He did for Olympic #1. The symbol. Next, teruskan lagi. Okay, this is where I highlighted tactile walking surface indicator. And next A. Teruskan lagi. Some example. The height here, I think in Malaysia we put 5 mm. 5 mm, the height of this pattern. The ISO 2011 dia letak 4, kita letak 5 ya. Okey, terus kita ada macam ni. Ini guiding, ini warning. Yang bulat-bulat ni warning. Yang ni guiding. Dekat Finland dia guna besi ke apa? I tak tahu, guna beras ke apa. Tapi dekat Malaysia takut kena curi So dia different pattern but same style So these are some of the example. Teruskan lagi. This is already mentioned, But okay, this is other human abilities associated design consideration. Teruskan lagi. Escalation spaces and doorways, fire safety assisted evacuation for all in buildings, and management and maintenance issues. Okay, teruskan. Okay, this is children. we just highlighted. We didn't put in detail. That's why in MS 2021, we want to detail up this for children, where we focus to school, the 3 school, preschool, primary, and secondary. Teruskan lagi. This one, visual impairment. Okay, teruskan. This is for elderly. Very little, but for version, elderly are using the same facilities as person with disabilities. Jadi samalah macam yang terangkan tadi. Ya. Teruskan lagi. This is design guidelines for family friendly disabled. Yeah. More. Design guidelines for parks and open spaces. This one we have to enhance again in our new Malaysian standard. Teruskan lagi. These are the references. So I finished the paper 1B on MS 1184, but I didn't go through the detail of the document. The document is quite thick, but I take the gist, what is expected from there. Yeah. Thank you. Now I move to the second paper. Okay, paper 2 on public toilet. This is what my friend, my good friend Dato Loh, talked to me the other day regarding the public toilet. So when we prepared this public toilet, because there was a history. Many years ago, one Japanese tourist student, he gave a book to Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir then, during the 22 years, not the current one. He gave the book to Dr. Mahathir. At the last page, he show a toilet, Malaysian toilet, the T toilet. He traveled around Malaysia. That's how all the ministries are working towards improving public toilet. So I was instructed to chair this particular document, and there are many members, including ministries, JKR, ramai terlibat lah. So we try to find from all over the world if there is any country in the world have produced Malaysian standard, not Malaysian standard, standards for toilet. So kita tengoklah, kita rujuk semua sekali. So we found New Zealand ada provide satu. And normally New Zealand and Australian dia guna dokumen yang sama ya. So this one was published early, can't remember, 2006. First publication was in 2006. Then we revised again in 2017. There are 4 standards under public toilet. The first one is design criteria, which we revised in 2017. Inspection criteria, rating criteria, code of practice for maintenance. So these 2, 3, and 4 is very important for the contractors who look after a contractor yang outsource to clean the public toilet. So they have all working in hotel or something like that, or in KLIA or other big buildings. They must have procedure macam mana nak cuci toilet, macam mana nak rating toilet, macam mana nak buat inspection, macam mana nak maintain the finishes. Because if you don't train the workers, they may use the same mop for the WC and also for the floor. They have to be trained. So part 2, 3, and 4 is mainly for the operator lah. So we focus to design criteria 2017. Please proceed. So this is the content. Including introduction, scope, clause, and so on. Okay, teruskan. Okay, the purpose of this Malaysian standard is to provide a guideline of clean, hygienic, user and environmental friendly, safe and convenient to use public health facilities of appropriate design and quality. So saya dulu terlibat dalam jabatan standard Malaysia ni dah lama ya. So alhamdulillah we get help from them, and also they support bila kita nak buat ni, menyediakan dokumen, dibantulah oleh berbagai-bagai organisasi supaya maklumat yang kita buat ni lebih dipercayai dan kokoh. This Malaysian standard provides guidance on the basic care and maintenance of the facilities in public toilets. So kita ni 2017 ya, teruskan. Kita terus kepada content ya. Kita ada scope, normative references, term and definition, performance requirement, design of public toilets, location, number of toilet units, expectation of users. Lepas tu kita ada annex A sampai F. Design features and criteria, toilet fittings and criteria, number of toilet units, example of calculations, number of sanitary facilities, public toilet facilities, example of layouts, guide plans for toilet units. So we give more than 22 example of toilet that suit our country lah, that suit Malaysian. So scope, this Malaysian standard covers all the public toilets whether found in standalone structures or inside buildings used by the occupants or visitors to the building or both. It includes statutory requirements, design, location, number, type, and quality of the public toilets. Guidance is given to the provision of public toilets of various categories and adequacy whether they may be located. This standard does not cover supply of water and storage system for public toilets. Providers of public toilets will provide systems that are ecologically appropriate to the location and are of sound construction. Next. Now actually dia ada banyak clauses, but I go straight to the performance requirement. Kalau nak tahu detail, you have to refer to the whole document because dia tebal juga. So under 4.5 function, the function of public toilet is to provide facilities for the public to use in which they may urinate, defecate, clean themselves, groom, perform parenting needs where applicable, and otherwise attend to bodily needs in a clean, secure, private, and hygienic manner. So this is the function of our toilet. So performance. So performance, public toilet facilities shall provide for the needs of people of all genders, for parents and children, for people with disabilities and their carers in all gender combination. So ini telah dinyatakan. Tadi saya dah sentuh University Design kat MS 184. Now continue from that on toilet. Public toilets shall be safe, private, and hygienic. Structure. Public toilets are either building or part of a building, and such they shall comply with the statutory requirements of authorities. The performance requirements for the toilet building and sanitary fixtures within it will be the same regardless of the location. Number, sufficient public toilet units shall be provided to meet the requirements of the locality, to meet the requirements of the expected gender ratio, and so on. Saya nak tanya satu soalan pada Loh. Who do you think use longer toilet? Loh atau Casilio?
Of course, the female. Of course, it's me.
You use longer than Casilio.
Yeah.
But sometimes the women are wearing jubah, dress, and then you are wearing skirt. You know?
Yeah.
But Casilio, you have to open the trousers. Also take, and then dia pakai jacket kan. Handsome jacket. Pakai tu. Lepas tu you nak buka seluar, you nak gantung seluar ke atau you letak je atas? Kalau you letak atas tu takut orang luar curi seluar. Then you have to be very careful where to hang the trousers. Make sure you have hanger inside your WC. Nanti you punya seluar kena curi, you punya jacket pun kena curi, so you have to hang it properly. Or the ladies wanted to put your beautiful handbag, you need that sort of accessories in the toilet. Okay, teruskan lagi. I would say kita suka socialize. Cantik you punya tudung, mana you beli? But men, they don't socialize. We do research. Men, they do business, they go out from the toilet. Ladies, they chit-chat. They socialize in the toilet. Cantik lah, you know, baju cantik lah, beli kat mana, kasut cantik, and on those things. Now, clause 5, design of public toilet. Guide for design brief preparation. Reference to the standard in the order listed as per table 1 will assist, provides to prepare public toilet and brief. Clause 6, location. Select location. Clause 7, number of toilets. Determine the likely population, length of stay, arrival rate, gender ratio, all gender or gender specific toilet. All gender ni sesuai dekat Sweden. Sweden campur. Lelaki masuk, perempuan masuk, saya malu. I presented my paper in Lund. In Lund. So I picked the one on the lower level, not on the top level. Because we share with men, I segan. So ini dia kata all gender. Consider provision for expansion. Annex C, number of toilet units. Determine the number of toilet units required, number of accessible toilet, number of shower units, and parenting required. Clause 5, design of public toilets, and Annex E, public toilet facilities, example of layout. And then this one you can also refer to MS 1184 tadi, and then decide on the arrangement of the toilet units. Annex A, okay, decide with which features to be provided. Toilet fittings, decide which fittings are to be provided. Guide plans for toilet units, consult guide plans for layout of features and fitting in all gender toilets unit. And then sanitary based on type of occupancy and area. So it is written there up to the architect to pick and choose. Okay, teruskan lagi. Okay, location. Provider should consider providing toilet facility at any location where there is an expectation that people may require the use of toilets or where there is a public demand for toilets. In general, demand will be generated where people congregate away from their residence or workplace for a length of time greater than 1 hour, and where no public toilet facilities are provided as part of another building. It shall be noted that existing public toilets may not necessarily be in the most suitable location. Provision of public toilet at every location suggested could result in unnecessary cost and over provision. Oh, saya nak cerita satu. Have you visited the Bangkok International Airport, the biggest one? So the Bangkok International Airport, they have the toilet is hidden. The sorok. When I went to Bangkok, I think it was under UNESCAP. The person with disability complain, dia kata tu sorok, dia takut. So we shouldn't hide our toilet jauh sangat. Shouldn't be hidden. Dia mestilah rasa, pengguna rasa selamat. Users must feel safe. Next. Okay, toilet facility kategori. You nampak yang ada 5. Toilet facility kategori A, B, C, D and E. Location city center. Katalah Kuala Lumpur atau Penang. Urban area. Tourist attractions. Area C. Dekat Gunung Kinabalu ke, dekat apa tu Bukit Bendera ke, rural area, other areas yang ada. Main users, who are they? City center occupant, tourist, local commuters, local and foreign shoppers and so on. Expectation of users, meet high quality of requirements by provider. So saya tak baca detail, tapi information ni cukup lengkap for the architects to refer. So we have 5 category of toilet. Next. Clause 7, number of toilet units. Approach. The approach to determine the number of toilets unit required will be influenced by the presence or otherwise of an existing toilet at or near the chosen location. The determination of an arrival rate. Berapa macam RNR tapah. Berapa ribu orang sehari masuk tu? 18,000, 20,000 sehari. During Chinese New Year or Hari Raya. How many per day? Arrival rate in particular can be more accurately assessed if a measurement can be made on an existing toilet facility. Where this is not practicable, then the provider shall utilize experience from other location or use temporary toilet units as proposed in 7.3.1 and so on. There are 3 approaches to determine the number of toilet units. Number 1, trial. Kita agak-agak. Number 2, by calculation. Number 3, by building purpose group. So for your information, in our group, when we prepare this document, kita ada ahli jawatankuasa daripada KLIA. We also have people from RNR. So we have a lot of input from those who have experience receiving a lot of people to use the toilet. Next. Saya pun belajar loh. Bila sebab toilet ni, I learn as well. You know, the more we give, the more we get. Okay, number of toilet units, determination of number of toilet units required. 1, by trial. A pragmatic approach is to supply a location or augment the existing number of toilet units at a location with portable toilet units, adding sufficient units until the need is met, and then designing the toilet facility to suit the need. By calculation, this one we can refer to Annex C. And then in order to use calculation method, it is necessary to consider a number of factors. These factors are estimated or measured, usually by survey. The number of toilets units shall be required at a particular location is influenced by the following factors. The length of stay of the population in an area. Kata RNR, you stop 1 hour, so you have one bus 40%. 80% of the passenger wanted to use the toilet. So how long Loh Mei is using the WC? How long Castillo? So we have 80% of 40 passenger. So kita kena tahu tu berapa lama Loh guna, berapa lama KCDO guna, male and female kan. And then the population in the area, the arrival rate, gender ratio. Dalam bas tu 80% perempuan, 20% only lelaki. The ladies use longer, so bas tunggu lama lagi sebelum melepas ke utara. Teruskan lagi. Length of stay, the number of people using public toilet is influenced by the length of time spent in a location. 3 types of stay are identified in this standard. Short term, less than 1 hour, RNR. Okay, ini rehat and rawat or scenic stop areas. There are points where the travelling public may stop solely to use the toilet. So there dua, sama ada RNR or scenic stop. You daki gunung, cantik tempat tu, ramai orang datang. So when you design your toilet, you tengok berapa ramai pelancong kan situ. Medium stay, medium term, 1 or 2 hours. Long term, greater than 2 hours. So you have 3. Then number of length of stay, 1 hour, 2 hours, or more than 2 hours. Next. Accessible toilet, macam mana nak tahu ni? Accessible toilet. Number of toilet, this is what is suggested. If you have 10 toilet, you have to provide 1. You have 22, you have 33 accessible toilet. If possible, accessible toilet ni can be unisex. Yang penting ada. Unisex maknanya lelaki boleh pakai, perempuan pun boleh pakai. Tapi yang toilet biasa ni kena male and female asing. Parental unit and shower. This is the ratio. 1:10. Optional untuk apa? Untuk toilet parenting ni maknanya kalau ibu yang nak menyusukan anak. More than that, we have to provide 1 or 2. Shower to meet expected demand, such as at haulage, carrier stop, recreational area, and factories. Maknanya kalau you nak tambah toilet ni, tambah shower, sorry. If you want to add shower, you have to look at the function of your building. Swimming pool adalah, lepas tu tempat yang orang berpeluh-peluh atau gimnastik ke, gym dan sebagainya, you need to have shower. Okay, next. Design features and criteria. Okay, toilet facility features is provided in table A1, and the application is provided in from A to C and also described in Annex E. Next. Okay, table A1, these are features for toilet facilities. Tengok sini kita tadi saya dah sebut 5 kan? Toilet type ada 5 kan tadi? Dah cerita tadi kan? Asal. So 5 jenis toilet. So these are the features on the left hand side from 1 to 21. You ada entrance lah, you ada unit self-contained, you ada waste washable surfaces, you ada vandal resistant, you ada ablution dan sebagainya. Item 1, so this is the toilet type. A, B, C, D, E. MA is mandatory, OP is optional. Ni ada indikator kanan ni. Saya bagi contoh Saya ambil contoh toilet A, toilet A ni, toilet type A. Shower unit optional. B pun optional. You rujuk table ni lah, sama ada you nak provided mandatory ataupun optional. It is written here. Saya sebenarnya nak ajar kamu macam mana baca dokumen ni. Sometimes dokumen ada tak tahu nak baca. Next, teruskan. Toilet fitting criteria. So we will see in table 1 and its application and also the standard. Standard all sanitary waste fitting and accessory shall whenever possible comply with all relevant nation standard. Okay, teruskan lagi. Okay, this is toilet fitting. Toilet fitting, toilet facility A to E, and these are the fittings from item 1 to item 17. Okay, teruskan lagi. Okay, sama, teruskan lagi. Okay, teruskan lagi. Okay, now kita pergi pada number of toilet units, example of calculation. Kita ada 3 tadi kan? 1 trial, 2 tadi apa? Calculation. The third one apa? Lupa. The third one tadi apa? Do you remember? Azwan, do you remember? Ada 3 tadi sebelah belakang. So, 1 trial, 2
population ke? Bukan.
Yang ada 3 tadi. 1 to 3. 1 trial, 2 by calculation. Sekejap ya. Ni.
First group.
There are 3 approaches to determine the number of toilet. This is important for the architect. 1 trial, 2 calculation, 3 building purpose group. Okay, straight to the calculation. Okay. So this one, okay, we go for the calculation. Before. Okay. The following main factors used in this annex have been identified in clause 5, the length of stay, population in the area, arrival rate, gender ratio, and occupancy time. Okay, teruskan. So this is how we calculate. Let's say desired occupancy time. No interval effect, male, female guna 150 betul. No, you are right. You guna 150 second. Yeah, 150 second. 90 minit use time. You are in the WC, 60 minit you basuh tangan. Minit pula second. 90 second use time, 60 hand basin. For architect Leo, you use 100. 60 in the toilet, 40 washing your hands. Laju limited for you to use toilet, the interval effect. So these are written like ni, laju sikit lah. 130. 70, 60, 90, 50, and 40. So actually we check. We also check when we do this standard one by one. Use the toilet and I'm outside the toilet waiting, correct or not? Because although we refer to other countries, because Malaysia we are wearing baju kurung. We are wearing all sort of dresses. So how long we take? We cannot take everything from them. Yeah? We have to check. Types of facility, all gender facilities. All gender facilities require the provision of water, closet, pan, and a basin as a minimum within the unit. So dalam unit tu you kena ada WC dan juga hand basin. In Sweden, the toilet is very small. When you enter the toilet, it is open outside. The size of the WC there, but the size of the sink is this one. Sink ni kecil macam cawan. Ada air masuk, you boleh basuh tangan. So you have WC and sink, but the size of WC is 900 by 900. Because it is open outside, just your WC and a small sink. It is in Sweden, but the most embarrassing experience, this is your conferences, and the toilet is along the sebelah kanan, sebelah kiri of your conference. So orang keluar masuk toilet. Dia tak malu. Kita malu kan? You do not want to go to the toilet when you are having your conference. So dia keluar masuk toilet. So I prefer on the lower level. So tu dia punya culture. Culture. Ni all gender. You got the water closet and basin sekali. The design occupancy time used for calculating the number of all gender toilet use, therefore include the use of the hand basin. Table C3. Yeah? Table C3. Since the occupancy time differ for males and female, the design occupancy time should take into account gender ratios. Let's say if you have more ladies, so you have to provide more WCs. Itu maksud dia. Yeah? Gender specific facilities. For gender specific toilet facilities using all gender toilet, unit design occupancy time will be the same as C31. Yeah? C31 atas ni lah. Urinal. Urinal have the advantage of being able to service a high arrival rate and a larger number of people due to the low occupancy times. Addition to install urinal should be governed by the gender ratio of the population in the area. And consideration of the privacy of urinal areas, the mean occupancy time for urinal usage is given in table C2. So dia ada timing ni. Urinal ni kalau you pergi safari Singapore, you boleh tengok, you do your business and see the environment. You boleh tengok pemandangan lah. Seksi lah, seksi. Yeah? So I've seen one toilet in Pulau Langkawi, tak ada pintu. And then open to the pool. I tak masuk. Malu. So I was also the evaluator for quality toilet for the country. Under KPKT, saya dulu jadi juri. I travel all in Malaysia to check which toilet is the best in the country. Dia bertanding. Ada pertandingan toilet. Okay, now calculation, tengok sini, probability estimate does not take into account gender ratio of the population, the number of toilet population kali peak arrival rate kali toilet occupancy time over time of stay in area. So this is the calculation. Jadi kita tahu lah total 4 unit. This is the calculation. The calculation okay does not okay ni. For gender specific toilet facilities, the number of toilet units needs to be calculated as in C4.1.2, which takes into account the gender ratio. Contoh ya, a 50 seat bus stopping for up to 30 minutes. 30 minit bawah ni, 30 minit. with the next stop being an hour or so later. 80% of the passengers, 80% of the passenger, yeah, wish to use the toilet facilities. This situation provides 40 users in 30 minutes. you ada 80%, 40 users in 30, maknanya out of 50 ni 80% saja nak guna toilet, ya. So 40 orang daripada 50. Number of toilet, so 50 population kali 0.8 kali 3, ya, kali 3 over 30. So we need about 4 units for the WC, ya, for the toilet. So detail calculation macam ni lah, ya. Ada, ya, di bawah ni. Okey, teruskan. Buat calculation ni. Buat toilet. Boleh nampak tak? Can you see, participant? Can you see my presentation? Okay, observe data. 5 buses each with 50 seats. Arrive at the location in 30 minutes. 80% of the passengers wish to use a toilet unit. Buses carry on average up to 80% females and up to 60% males. So kita kena buat calculation sini lah. Yeah. Population 250 in 30 minutes. Arrival rate 80%. Gender ratio up to 80% female, 60% male. There is limited opportunity to use facilities. 30 minutes and the appropriate section of the table C3 applies. All gender toilet facility, the toilet unit occupancy time is 130 for female and 90% for male users. It includes an allowance for hand basin usage. Gender ratio 80-20. So this is how the calculation, 250 over 30 kali 0.8 kali 0.8 kali 130 over 60. So for the female, 12 unit. You need 12 unit to cater for that. For male is 2 unit. Yeah? Sebab dia punya ratio dia kurang. Only 20%. 80% women perlukan 12 unit. 20% male only 2 unit. Yeah? Gender ratio 40-60. 40% female, 60% male. So female you need about 6 unit, for male you need another 6 unit. So this is how it is calculated. It is not very difficult. So kalau arkitek nak buat berapa banyak toilet kawasan tu, let's say you design a campus. Let's say Faculty of Architecture. Total student from year 1 up to master degree, PhD and so on, total 1,500 plus lecturers. So 1,500 Monday to Friday. How many toilet do you require, for example? So you can do the calculation for the toilet. Teruskan lagi. So this one sanitary facilities. Number of sanitary facilities. This one untuk pejabat, office area not more than 500 meter square. So dia punya calculation dia ada di sini. This one to make your life easy lah. Yeah. Shopping, not more than 250 meter square. This one the range up to 3,000 meter square. So for male and female staff and public, these are the calculation. Sama jugalah yang ini. Conference hall, club assemblies, worship area dan sebagainya adalah ni untuk park turis dan sebagainya. Dan di sini WC referring to the water closet, WB is water barrier, and UR is not water barrier, is water basin. Not barrier, ni basin ni, sorry, spelling. And then urinal. So how many numbers is written there? So easy lah. Terus refer. Teruskan lagi. So these are the 5 toilet yang tadi. Ni macam bubble diagram lah. Kita nak buat design. So the 5 example toilet A, B, C, D and E. For toilet A, 1 is entrance, accessible from both sides. 2 main toilet area, tengah. And then dispersed to toilet unit number 4. So kita ada 4 for toilet unit. And then we have, and then number 7 is janitor or storage. So kita ada 4 lah WC sini. Both entrance. This is gender specific attendant. Gender specific attendant. Teruskan lagi. This one type B. This is for gender specific with all gender for year and all genders accessible unit attendant. You tengok 1 1 is entrance from both sides. Number 2 all gender specific. All gender. Number 2. Mana lelaki perempuan boleh masuk sini. Number 3 for year gender. This is male, this is female. Ni. Lepas tu number 5 toilet unit. Number 5 is toilet unit. Number 6 toilet all gender accessible. This is one, accessible toilet. And then toilet unit number 6, yeah. Number 7, attendant, sales, cleaning. Ni, yeah. Nombor 8, cleaning, storage. Nombor 9, parenting. So yang common tu dia letak kat tengah ni. Accessible toilet, parenting dan juga cleaning, storage. And the specific, male, female. And then dia punya common dia kat situ. Yeah. So dia punya entrance kat depan lah. Yang number 3 ni, C is gender specific, all gender accessible unit attended. So dia punya design kat tengah ni, between the two. Yeah. Sini-sini tapi yang lain-lain yang common dia tak kat tengah. Next. Example for toilet D, this way. All gender or gender specific unattended. This is yang biasa lah. You ada entrance of public space. Number 1 kat tengah ni. Additional toilet unit. Number 4. Number 5, toilet unit or gender accessible. Accessible maksudnya including the accessible toilet. And number 8, cleaning. The last one, or gender specific, unattended. Entrance, and then additional toilet, and all gender or accessible. So dia ada 2 lah. Teruskan lagi. The first 3 example tadi tu untuk bangunan lebih besar lah. Yang belakang tadi yang kecil.
Hi, Prof. Prof, sorry for interrupt because since the time is running out, appreciate Prof can go through the slide faster so that
okay, yeah.
allow our audience to ask a question.
Yeah, okay. Next, yeah, okay. Next. So, okay, teruskan lagi. These are the toilet. Yeah, all the example. Yeah, the plan and section. You see here there is no drop. On the lay to fall. Yeah. Next. Same, yeah. Similarly, next. This is the next. Okay, next. Okay, this is for accessible toilet. Next. This is more WCs, yeah. More WCs and the positioning of the accessible toilet. Yeah. Okay, teruskan lagi. Okay, teruskan. This is the inspection criteria where it is relevant for operators. Yeah, teruskan. Terus. Teruskan lagi. Rating criteria, teruskan. And practice for maintenance, teruskan. All the last 3 is for operators. So I finished my presentation. Thank you. Ms. Loh.
Wow, so
Thank you
fast. Yeah, okay. Yeah, thanks, Professor, for the enlightening presentation. So now come to the Q&A sections. So to all participants, if you have any question to the speaker, please press the Q&A button and submit your question. And Prof, we have a question from the audience. The first question, okay, is this one. Is MS 2015/2017 is a mandatory requirements?
MS 2015 is voluntary.
Okay, so it's not a mandatory requirement.
It's a voluntary.
Okay. Yeah, then okay, we have Chairman, you have any question to ask? If you have, you just on your speaker. Then also we have another question is from Ms. Ng Ziying. So okay, for lift design, where should we locate the mirrors for the wheelchair user to reverse? Side or ideally the wall opposite the lift, because no point to locate it behind because they can't see behind, right? This is a question from Miss Architect.
Okay. Dia masuk lift ni macam-macam. Ya, I'm a wheelchair user. Nampak comel. I use a motorized wheelchair in UIA. My faculty is huge. I want to be on when I enter the lift. Normally I masuk depan. Biasanya saya turun. I tolak my wheelchair because I'm so scared the lift will close quickly because the door is closing very quickly. So saya turun dan saya push. I can do automatic and manual. So some people they do reverse. Some people they move. If you move, you masuk. Jadi you nak tengok pintu belakang. Jadi you refer to the mirror in front of you. The mirror is in front of you, then you reverse, nampak pintu belakang. Kadang-kadang kita masuk tu sengit because we have other passenger, kan? Jadi saya takut bila saya reverse saya langgar pintu. Saya bukan mahir, saya bukan pemandu yang mahir untuk wheelchair. Jadi saya akan langgar, so saya berdiri because I can still walk. Itu jawapan saya. But if you have a bigger, yeah. Thank you.
Sorry, Ms. Loh, can I just share a couple of things?
Yeah.
Please.
Prof, on the MS 2015, why isn't the government making it mandatory?
Yeah, Prof, you have to unmute it. Unmute, yeah.
Actually, when we do MS 1184 for the public toilet, we refer to MS 2015. We refer to 2015.
Okay.
The word mandatory here when your document is written in UBBL. Tadi ada
Okay.
dua dokumen kan, MS 1183
Yeah,
and MS
yeah, yeah.
11.
So you got to follow 1184 lah.
Ya, itu dia tertulis dalam UBBL. Tetapi
Okay.
2015 and other like masjid and so on, it is not written in the UBBL. Bila masuk biar jadi mandatory. Tapi kalau tak masuk, boleh dipakai. Tak ada masalah. Itu sebab kita buat. Menjadi
Like
satu
support
contoh.
lah, macam support lah.
Betul.
Okay. The other experience I had is about I have a father-in-law who has dementia. So when you go into the lift, they prefer to be actually not facing the mirror. Sebab dia orang takut. Sebab so when you push a dementia patient into a lift, bila ada mirror, you should actually back the dementia patient into the lift rather than forward. Sebab dia takut who is that person in the mirror. So that is actually quite an important issue to note actually.
Yeah, dementia is
Thank you.
dementia is another type of sickness for the elderly, and there is no cure for dementia. Because I do research on this topic as well, and sometimes kita tak boleh nak buat untuk semua orang. Tak dapat sebab when I did my visit to Canberra, Miranjani, old folks home, they have the live-in accommodation for the elderly daycare, dan juga dementia ada 40 orang. So they bring their memory by putting the wall, dia punya kampung, dia tampal human scale, all the corridor dia tampal dengan gambar-gambar kampung dia lah, dia punya farm dan sebagainya, to recall back. Dan dia selalu lupa dan sense of direction dia akan masuk bilik orang lain. Dia lupa bilik dia akan masuk bilik orang sana ke orang sini. Jadi caretaker kena jagalah. Tapi kalau jaga kat rumah lagi penat lah Casey. Itu dekat daycare center lah. I was informed by them.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Prof, understand that you're also involved in the education field.
Yes.
So awareness and education is undoubtedly an essential pillar lah for our future built environment. So can you just share with us some of the initiative or approach how the education system or syllabus address the UD learning, especially for our future generations?
For your information, in my university, IIUM, I have elective subject. They call it MAAR 7032, University Design and Accessibility in the Built Environment. It is a 14-week course. So at the moment, I have 10 students. Every semester, I have different students. So I'm teaching them from week 1 to week 14, including regulation, ACTA, definition, example from different building topology. I also do assess, audit and simulation, quite comprehensive and assignment. So kita kadang-kadang assess audit dekat campus lah. So we have all the data for our management to improve our facility. Kita sudah 10 tahun lebih. And I think other university already started doing so. Like Universiti Melaya pun ada juga elective for the master student.
So is there any other question from the floor? If not, then I think I get the chances to ask more questions. Casey, you have any question? You can also ask this one. So maybe in general, since you already involved in these fields like for quite many years, what do you think what's the difference do you think exist in the approach of Malaysians and other countries with regards of this universal design?
Okay. Soalan yang sangat bagus, Ms. Loh. I've been here for 25 years, since 1996. Then when I was involved in the Malaysian, I was with Pamnc before. I'm council member for Pamnc 10 tahun. Banyak kali menang tanpa bertanding. because numbers are small. So I was instructed by the president then to review the Malaysian standard. Then I went to ESCAP, UN ESCAP many times, including to United Nations as well in New York on this topic. Okay, kalau saya lihat Malaysia dulu dan sekarang, saya sebut tadi Malaysian standard was written in early 1990s. So buildings before that tak accessible. Zoo ke masjid negara ke tak not accessible because they were designed in 1960s. So they have to do access audit and do retrofitting to provide facilities for the disabled. Jadi kawan-kawan OKU saya kalau dia complain, itu saya jawab. Bangunan ni dulu arkitek pun tak balik dari luar negara. Kita baru kan struggling. Then we prepared this document. So after that, in 1990s to 2000 sampai sekarang, some architect they provide separuh jalan, not simplest. So I would like to advise architect when we do access audit, kadang-kadang bangunan baru Miss Loh pun tak friendly. Bangunan baru. Last year, sometimes maybe ada access audit parking salah dan sebagainya. So I think it is also the responsibility of the local authority to check. Normally local authority dia bagi list, ya. Kalau Putrajaya, when the building is constructed by 95% completed, dia bawa access audit masuk check. Sebelum tu dia approve dulu building, lepas tu check sama ada kontraktor buat tu betul ke tak. Kalau tak betul boleh diperbaiki lagi at 95% completed, ya. Kalau di DBKL, dia minta arkitek ada access statement. You are responsible to provide facility for the disabled in your building. Kadang-kadang dia tak check you punya toilet tu, tapi you are responsible. Sampai satu masa nanti kalau you tak provide, dia charge lah. Dia bagi apa, arkitek kena bayar denda. Ya. Lagi satu, arkitek must be very careful. Kadang-kadang kita perasan pandai. We know actually, if you are not disabled, kita punya perasaan different. If you are disabled and you handle elderly person and so on, we have to be very careful because we do not want them to fall, jatuh. So I was invited for World Forum on Fall by medical doctors di KLCC. So banyak orang jatuh dalam toilet, especially the elderly, even in the US pun orang jatuh. Jadi kita kena pilih material yang betul. Kalau guna tiles 600 by 600, itu tak bagus, licin, kena air jatuh. Jadi dekat ablution pun ramai orang jatuh, ada yang common dan sebagainya. Dekat toilet untuk ambil wuduk. Jadi kalau saya tengok dari dulu sekarang, improvement ada. So we can showcase our city like KLCC, Putrajaya, and the KLCC, some of our good facilities. I was in Penang last week. I visited your UNESCO route. Some are very good. You have improved a lot. Saya bawa student pergi Taiping, singgah Penang. Then I went to Kuala Kangsar. So I can see, I think Penang and Melaka have improved a lot, especially at the tourist area. You provide those, but from the walkway, pedestrian to the building, some have done the improvement. Tapi ada lagi yang tak ada lah, so dia 50-50 macam tu.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Prof, we have another question from the audience. Okay, is MS 2015 apply only to public buildings only?
Tadi dalam definisi untuk semua building. Dalam definition earlier one, dia kata bangunan yang sebuah, ataupun toilet you dalam commercial building.
I see.
Dalam commercial building, atau you punya toilet dekat institution, atau you punya toilet dekat office. They comply to all.
Okay.
The toilet is for all.
Understand.
The example of the toilet is for all building typology.
Yeah, understand. So, okay, another question from the audience. Is that a samples of calculation based on building types for MS 2015?
Ada tadi?
Yeah.
Ada satu table lah. Berapa
Yes.
WC, berapa HMC ada saya tunjuk tadi.
Yeah.
Ada tadi office apa 250 square meter. Lepas tu ada tunjuk contoh tadi, you boleh check dalam tu ada.
Okay. So it can just based on the schedule. Then put the schedule.
Tadi a lot of tables I show you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Then I think that's all from the audience, and then
they have to refer to the 5 types of toilet tadi. Toilet A, B, C, and D. A, B, C is for bigger number of population, and then D and E for smaller. Umpamanya when you travel to certain area, you have 1 or 2 toilet. Yang tadi tu ada banyak WC, banyak kompartmen dalam
Yes,
toilet tu.
understand.
Ada contoh situ.
Okay.
Cukup untuk arkitek merujuk. You kena rajin
Have
baca.
to read the MS lah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
okay, Prof, to us today, we have participants actually from some is from government agency, and also we have a member from Pamnc lah. So can you like give us some tips or advice like how to improve the implementations of this MS? And then because sometimes the architect, like we actually get pressure from the developer not to spend extra money or what. So yeah, so this is the things that we're facing now. So
Okay, thank
what's your
you. Very good
advice?
question though. I think it's a very good question.
Yeah.
Pada saya punya khidmat saya to make sure all people are safe in my building. Nombor satu. Yang kedua, I make sure all people must be able to have the opportunity. Let's say in school, the disabled children must be able to go to school. The office accessible wheelchair must be able to enter the office. But I give you the but. Tak ada banyak course. Mama you pergi ke LCC, Suria Tower. You pergi situ, dia punya lah besar yang you tak rasa pun masuk. Masuk bangunan tu. Entering the LCC is a big huge ramp. Dia tak ada step. Terus. Kebanyakan successful building like KLIA, apa tu International Airport, mana-mana kan, very successful building. Maknanya you cater for everybody. But for existing building, you kena buat retrofitting dan you kena fikir. Not only in Malaysia but also in Australia. I did study in 2000 in Sydney. Masa dia buat Paralympic, so I talked to an architect who did for the Paralympic. So Sydney take 10 years to improve their facilities in Sydney city. And then if you go to UK, even in Oxford, dia punya bangunan bertingkat-tingkat 800 tahun sebagainya. Dan even you nak cari toilet, the public toilet dia kat bawah, basement. So you have to find where should I find accessible toilet? You can cari by Spencer. Kalau ada satu accessible toilet, tapi dia punya signages nak sampai situ tu banyak, wayfinding. Lepas tu saya dah highlight sini designated area. Jadi okay, you tak semua tempat dia boleh masuk. I talked to my friend in Putrajaya. He stayed in Putrajaya, but he likes to go to Precinct 11 punya surau. Surau Precinct 11, but surau Precinct 11 is located in the hilly area. If he asked me to do ramp, I say, oh, I'm not going to do ramp because the hill is like that, steep. 1:8 memanglah mati lah wheelchair kan laju. So I said, you have the choice. Since you are a wheelchair user, please find other surau which is friendly to you. So you must, disabled person must have choice in their life. I have choice in my life. I make sure my life is safe. So saya fikir mana shopping complex saya nak pergi, make sure it is accessible dan sebagainya. And the designated area tadi where you do your retrofitting, the most important thing, your accessible parking, and then accessible to your building that you do the retrofitting, the accessible toilet. And then you have to do mapping. You can, bila sampai je orang OKU, you bagi kepada Encik, this is where you want to find the accessible toilet in this building. Kalau kata you ada 20 tingkat bangunan, let's say that building is old building, that there is only one accessible toilet, you tell that Encik, okay, if you want to go to toilet, you go to level 6, there is accessible toilet. But this information is at the counter, at the reception at the counter. Jadi dia tahu mana nak pergilah. Last soalan saya nak tanya Loh, let's say you are deaf, pekak you live in 20th floor of a hotel. How do you order your mi mama and teh tarik? 20th floor you are deaf.
Yeah, I think I have no choice to go down to the reception. Yeah.
But you are paying 250 ringgit sama macam saya lah.
Yeah.
I think your answer is correct. So what you expected after you pergi reception, apa you buat?
Yeah, I think another way. Maybe I can use handphone.
Handphone.
I can
Tapi
use
boleh
handphone
ke?
to order.
Macam mana nak use handphone sebab kalau hotel biasa jawab cakap kan.
Yeah.
Tapi pergi bawah tadi betul, and then you have to talk to the reception.
Yeah. Maybe use
Then you are
handphone
deaf.
and then tap the wording and then show them.
Or you tulis pada kertas.
Yeah.
And then you naik atas kan.
Yeah.
Lepas tu what happen? You have to wait for the somebody to send you the food. You buka tu pintu tutup ke tak tutup? Ke buka sikit?
Yeah. I
So
understand the
biasanya
problem.
orang deaf dia akan buka pintu dia sikit sebab dia tak dengar. So what you should do? What is your option to help the deaf person in that room? So bila ada bell tu, you ada flashing lights. Flashing lights for the deaf inside that, yeah. So lepas tu sama juga untuk orang buta. Orang buta jangan dialihkan dia punya barang. Bila cleaner masuk, jangan alih sebab dia ingat mana dia letak barang. So we have to train workers in the hotel how to look after disabled person. Similarly to the reception bawah tadi, she has to learn sign language. Kalau tak ada sign language, bagi pen and pencil. So training tu penting. Kadang-kadang kita pergi bank, ada security tapi dia tak peduli pun. Okay, you wheelchair, dia buat tak nampak je. So dia tak prihatin. So banyak kena buat loh to help this group. Dia buat tak nampak je, dia do not want to help.
Can I share an experience
please
for
proceed.
people with visual impairment? I take Professor's note about relocating people's things and things like that. One of the issues for people with visual impairment is, sometimes when we see somebody who is blind, and normally that is actually very scary for them because they are very used to walking the way they walk. So the best offer is actually to let them have your shoulder or arm and they walk themselves rather than trying to be, showing them how to go across the road, because they're very used to one way of doing things, especially the blind people, So something to note, I think.
Prof, suddenly have a lot of question to come
There is
in.
one question regarding moving transfer WC. I agree with that. This what is his name? Yeah. His name is Ziying. Ziying. I agree with you. But when we design an accessible toilet in an office, actually that toilet is fixed design, not to cater for left or right or front or corner. The one that I showed you, how the disabled person transfer, wheelchair person transfer to the WC. There are many ways, but in our design, in our implementation, we only produce one. But if you have flip flap handle, what do you call, railing, flip flap railing, and very strong, you can use that. But the one that I showed you, the example that I showed in Malaysian standard, dia daripada kiri, tapi dia boleh juga daripada depan. Daripada depan atau kiri, dia akan gunakan flip flap transfer tadi. Because I also talk to my friends who are wheelchair user. Some of them right transfer, left transfer, front transfer. I kata kalau I guna satu je design, okay tak? Dia kata okay. They still can manage. Not necessary we have to do, to position the WC at the center by having the left and right transfer. Dapat satu dia boleh manage as long as we have the railing fixed to the wall and also the flip flap railing.
Yeah, Prof, suddenly we have a lot of question to come in, but due to time constraint, I think that the speaker can't answer all the questions. Maybe we pick the last one. This one's the last one. Okay. The MS 2015 also mentioned the provisions of public bathroom for public. So this may be acceptable for airport transportation center, but how about those private buildings like office, clinic? Is it suitable to have a bathroom?
Tu soalan yang bagus. Tadi saya telah nyatakan. I already show you one table where you should have your shower. Where you should have shower based on the activities that you have in your building. There are some examples just now I show you. So, for example, airport of course. Nanti kalau ada tempat yang ada berselam, yang menggunakan tenaga dan badan jadi kotor pun, you boleh letakkan shower di situlah. Bergantung kepada activity of that building, of the users of the building. Yeah. Saya letak saya punya email kalau ada soalan sini. Salah.
Yeah, we have a lot of questions. So if any question that we cannot, the Professor Asiah cannot answer now, we will forward the question to Prof. Then okay. Finally, I think we come to the end of the presentation. So we would like to say thanks to Professor Asiah for the interesting presentation and also to all the participants for your active participations. So hopefully the presentation will be beneficial to everyone.
All right, thank you, Prof. And
thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you,
Professor.
Ms. Loh. Thank you, everybody.